Hello? Remember kissing all that.
I do a lot of things in my free time. I read, I watch TV shows, I drink, and then I sit around and ponder about the meaning of life, or if there even is a meaning at all. And I also watch the latest MMA and boxing news. I never miss a story because I need it. I love it. It's just the drama. I need my fix. So imagine my absolute shock and horror and just disgust when I heard about this Hasbulla signing a 5-year deal with the UFC. Actually, I don't care at all. The only thing I know about Hasbulla is that he's super short and he looks like a little kid, even though he's like a 20-something-year-old man. And I also know that he had a Twitter feud with Conor where Conor threatened to punt him, which in retrospect, I guess might have been a marketing tactic. But I did see a lot of absolutely peeved people online just talking about, Dana, how could you? How could you sign this little word that I shouldn't repeat on YouTube? How could you do that when you underpay the fighters? All you care about is Hasbulla and the Nelk Boys. You're just the worst. You're bald. You're gonna die in 10 years and we're all glad because you did this. People got real crazy, so let's talk about that. First of all, let's talk about the main issue that people seem to have with the signing, fighter pay. A lot of people are under the misconception that the UFC is primarily a fighting company. The UFC is not a fighting company. Just like every other sports organization, the UFC is primarily an entertainment company. Therefore, your fighting skills aren't what gets rewarded in the UFC. It's your ability to put asses in seats and to entertain. And that is the reason why legendary fighters like Henry Cejudo and Demetrius Johnson with just absolutely amazing skills were treated as such a non-priority while they were with the UFC, while guys like Chael Sonnen, Conor McGregor, and girls like Ronda Rousey were treated like kings and queens. For those unfamiliar with the UFC's pay structure, fighters get a set amount of money and then the rest of it they make off of pay-per-view points. So the fighters that get paid the most are the ones with the highest pay-per-view numbers, which almost always involves fighters that are not the best, but they are the most entertaining. And you can't really blame the UFC for that. Of course, there are issues with fighter pay, and the pay scale should probably be restructured, but the discrepancy between the lowest paid fighters and the highest paid fighters currently is due to the fans and how much the fans want to see them fight. It just is what it is. Some guys you want to see fight, and some you don't. And apparently, Hasbulla falls into the latter category. And I personally don't understand why, but apparently this guy is just super popular. Like, I don't get the humor in watching a little person running around and slapping people, but I guess a lot of people find it funny because he has like 1 trillion followers on Instagram. I mean, this guy fucks. For sure. Yeah, so the reason he's in the UFC is because there's a high demand to see him in the UFC. Because if Dana White and Hunter Campbell and whoever else runs the company currently didn't see a good ROI on this little guy, you would never see him in the company, trust me. So now that we established that his presence is kind of an unavoidable thing, it's just a simple matter of supply and demand, what is everybody so mad at? I mean, I'm kind of interested to see which way they take it. I mean, maybe Conor will actually fight him and get his chance to punt him. Or maybe, just like Dana White said, there will never be women in the UFC. Maybe he's starting a little people's division. All right, he's probably not going to start a little people's division, but I mean, it'd be funny. I mean, nothing against little people. Listen, don't get offended if you're short. I'm right there with you. I'm just saying. But you know what makes me laugh the most? A lot of these guys that are so against this are these old school MMA Pride FC guys that were like, Crow Cop, Fedor, brah, the best, the greatest. Like those types of guys. And they're the ones that are just the most offended at this thing. But they must have forgotten what Pride FC was all about. I mean, there were freak show fights on freak show fights in that organization, right? Fedor himself fought the big fat Brazilian guy, Zuluzinho, whatever his name was. What about Giant Silva? Remember him? I mean, come on, guys. And honestly, let's just face the music. Nothing can be worse than CM Punk, right? At least Hasbulla, if he gets his ass kicked, probably will not get on the microphone and give a cringy post-fight speech while he has lumps all over his face talking about how you can achieve anything and the path of the warrior and believe in yourself and all this just grade A cringe. At least you won't have to suffer through that. So there you go. And I think that's about it for my opinion on that. And let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment down below. Like, dislike. As always, go for the algorithm. I'll see you soon.